wanted to make a video. I just watched one similar to this story. A guy was telling a story. He was a emergency response guy at a hospital. Watched a girl came in with a bullet wound right there, and it came out straight back. Didn't penetrate the skull or the brain. It somehow went around, went in, came out, but didn't penetrate, nothing in between. And she left the hospital with nothing more than a headache. I have a similar story. It's been a few years ago. If you subscribe to my YouTube, you can watch the videos of the night this happened. But I had lost a job, my first job ever, on the road as a truck driver. I'd worked my butt off to get that job, and been a yard driver for 2 years, and studied and went through school to get my license, and studied for 3 years to get it, and all kinds just to get there. And then when I lost that job, thanks to marijuana, they're real strict about being a truck driver. You can't smoke marijuana being a truck driver, and I'm a marijuana smoker, so I ended up losing my job, and I thought I was not going to be able to get back in a truck after all the time and effort I put into it. And I wasn't going back. I wasn't going back to no other. I worked my ass off to get to where I was, and I wasn't about to go backward. I didn't give a fuck. So I ended up deciding to kill myself. My dad passed away just 2 years prior, and he had died of an overdose of morphine. He had knee surgery, and he had a bunch of pills, and somehow I got a hold of them. So the night that I decided to kill myself, I took 43 morphine pills, morphine 15s. And I took 7 or 8 other kind of pills. I think, what is that, Seroquel? There was some kind of muscle relaxer and sleeping medications as well. But 43, and the doctor told me, once I made it to the doctors, and they told me, he said 5 of those morphine pills would kill a man. And I'd already done my research. Morphine kills just like heroin. If you overdose on it 1 hour, you're gone. There's no drawn out time. It's 1 hour or less, you're gone. Well, I took 43 of them. He said, I don't know how you survived that. I don't either. But it's I got videos of that night on my YouTube where I was going through it. And a couple hours went by after I took them, and I was feeling like shit, but I was still here. A couple more hours went by, I was still here. I waited 15 hours, and I realized I'm not gonna die. I'm sick and feeling like shit, but I wasn't gonna die. And for reasons of probation and dealing with all that shit, that I decided that there was only one way I could get out of being in trouble, because I'd lost my job because of marijuana, which was against the rules of my probation. I had not worked in a while, and I'd not taken their calls, and I just knew I was going to be in trouble with probation if I just went back to life as normal. So I decided, well, I better do something to show them that, I've got something more serious than probation going on here, and maybe they'd leave me the fuck alone with the probation. So I called and told ambulance that I had OD'd and took all them pills, and they came and got me and took me to the hospital. So now I got an excuse for the probation, right? That was my train of thought. I ended up doing psych center for a week, and talking to the probation officer while I was there, and everything smoothed out and was fine. But the night that I took them, I was dead set on dying. I mean, I was wanting to die. I was dead set on it. I didn't die that night. And it kind of reminds me of the night that the day I had my car wreck. I jumped a Corvette 200 foot down off an embankment. Tops of trees was going under the car. And I walked away from that car wreck. The car didn't, but I did. And I lived through that. And I've been suicidal my whole life up until the past 2 years when I got cancer and started doing research and realized God is real. But there's a reason why I didn't die. There was a reason why I didn't die when I was 19 and had that car wreck. And there's a reason why I haven't died the other times that I've attempted suicide. Not quite as gung-ho as this night I'm talking about. You know, that night, 43 of them pills, I knew there was no coming back from that. I knew when I take those, I can lay down and I'm not waking back up. That's why I did it, because I wanted to go. But no, I lived through it. I lived through that too. And there's a reason. There's a reason for everything. And we'll find out when we leave here, because we don't die when we leave here. We leave this body, but we don't die. We go on. We move. We go back up, go through a life review, go back to what some people call heaven or other dimension or whatever, however you want to see it. We go there. And we are being protected too by ancestors and God. Whatever you see it as, we are protected. I was damn sure protected. There's no way you take that many morphine pills and don't die from it. I'm still, right now, I'm going through some pretty hard times. I went through cancer, and then I started researching. For 7.5 months, I sat here with cancer, dealing with cancer, and researching with the internet in my hand. Didn't take long. I found out God's real. Near-death experiences, I've watched so many of them, over 100, a whole bunch, a lot. They're all so very similar. I know what happens when we die, and I still don't know my reason yet, but it's something to it, because I went back to work after 7.5 months with the cancer, even though I wasn't ready, but I was behind on rent and I had to pay my rent. So I went back to work and worked for 5.5 months, and then I ended up quitting again because I couldn't take it. I had too much shit I was dealing with, and fuel prices had went up. I was making anywhere before that, before the cancer, I was making $2,500 to $30. The best check I ever made was $3,750. That's 1 week. And most weeks I was taking home $2,500 a week. And when I went back and the fuel prices went up, I was taking home $650 for the same types of runs that I was taking, making $3,700. I was only making $650. And I said, fuck this shit. So I come back home. I still had, thinking that I had cancer, which I went through a lot of stuff when I had cancer. A lot of people probably wouldn't believe me if I told you, but I believe my cancer's healed. But when I came back home the second time and quit, I got behind on my rent and bills again. My phones got cut off. I just didn't care. I said, fuck it, let it go. But over the course of time, I decided, well, I got to pay my rent. My landlord's been cool and let me slide. So I figured I got to pay my rent. So I had my mind made up. I had a meeting that day. And when I come home from that meeting, I was going to borrow neighbor's phone, and I was going to call this other company about another truck. I was going to go buy me another truck and go back to work, lease purchase. And that day on my way back from the meeting was the day I had my motorcycle wreck. And it was the weirdest thing you ever saw. I had my throttle set where wherever I leave it, it would stay. And I could take my hands off and just cruise like that. And I had my bike dialed in so I could cruise without my hands on. It would stay straight. It was a pretty good bike. Damn nice bike. Everybody loved that bike. But I had it set on 40 because it was 35 and I was doing the speed limit. A bee stung me on this arm, and I looked down and my shirt had folded him up in the shirt and had him stuck. So I didn't think much of it. I looked down, I reached down, and I started trying to free him so he could go fly away. And then when I looked back up, there was a telephone pole right there, and I smacked it. Broke both my legs up real good. My hip on the side, crushed that leg. The knee was crushed. The bottom and top was broke. The hip was a 2-inch something broke on it. The other leg was broke down at the bottom. When I landed, they were both going different directions. I was fucked up real good. But there's a reason for that. And I swear I believe that I wasn't meant to go back out on that road in the hardships of trying to get around driving and dealing with the people out there, and anger. I stayed angry all the time. Being out there doing that, I didn't have time to do the research that I'd been doing and getting a lot of good knowledge. I believe there's a reason for that wreck, and I believe the reason was that I needed to do more research. I needed to get more knowledge, and I couldn't do it and drive at the same time. That and the anger, the road rage, which stayed with me because man, it's a hard thing to deal with. Driving a 80,000-pound vehicle with all these assholes on the road that just don't even give a fuck about what it takes to slow it down, speed it back up, and how much money it takes to run it. I mean, it takes a lot of money. I spent more in fuel weekly than most people make during the week in a paycheck. And I'm not just talking all the low paid workers. I'm talking about normal people. Back before the prices went up, I was paying $1,200 a week for fuel. And when the prices went up, man, it shot up to $3,000, $3,500 for fuel. It's a hard thing for me. It was for me anyway, dealing with all that. I'm an angry guy. So I believe that my motorcycle wreck that put me back down and out of commission had something to do with all that. So now I've been out work for be 2 years in April. I'll be 20 months behind on my rent coming up on the 1st. My lights have been off since July. I've got light right now because I got a extension cord going out my window to the outside, and I've got 2 LED lights, and I charge my phone, and I ended up putting my security cameras back on it because there's a lot going on in the world, and we got a lot of illegal people that's come into this. I mean, a lot, millions that has come into our country, and there's a reason behind it. I don't know what. It's not good. So I definitely want to keep an eye out and make sure I'm doing what I can to protect my neighbors and myself with all this shit, because I don't know what's going to happen and when. But that's the reason why I got some electricity. I ain't got no heat in here. I'm already using somebody else's electricity, so I'm not going to use more by using. I don't got no hot water, so I don't get hot showers. Got no stove and no refrigerator. Anyway, this ain't a pity thing. Even though sometimes it's hard not to. I'm having a pretty rough time of things right now. I'm sitting here now. It's 5 o'clock. It's 5:30. It's 5:30. I'm sitting here in my house, bundled up, which ain't too bad because this coat, this is a $1,200 coat, and you're talking about a nice warm coat. I can sit in the snow with this thing on, and my overalls. These are insulated, and this hat, which is pretty awesome. Anyway, I believe the reason why the motorcycle wreck happened was because it wasn't meant for me to go back out there on the road. It was meant for me to be here and just to do the research that I've been doing and to learn all this shit that I've learned, because I've learned so much and I'm still learning. I'm a Life Path 11, and it's part of my life path of being an 11. I mean, I do my research. That's what I do. The only reason I can figure that I didn't die when I tried to commit suicide, well, there's a couple. One, I have had a kid since then. A little girl. She's in Maryland with her mama. She's a little over 2 years old now. Still ain't met her. I've talked to her on the phone here. But her mama is, she's a character. I don't know what to say about it. But I've had her, and also doing all this research, I believe, has been the reason for that happened. I feel it. I know that's what it is, because I mean, there might be something even more coming for me, something great. I believe that too, because I don't believe that I was saved from the times that I've been should have not, and it's pretty profound. Watch the videos on my YouTube. You'll see that night. I got 2 of them on there that I recorded that night. I was wanting to go, and I didn't. Miracles do happen. Everybody's got a purpose. Everybody's got the reasons that they're here for, and whatever that may be, I mean, you're here until you do what is meant for you to do. I've thought about this a lot since I've been doing my research. I don't know if y'all believe in ghosts or what, but I know they're real. One thing that's very profound about it is a lot of youngins that's ghosts over this fucking world. I believe when you become a ghost, this is what I believe. I ain't got proof or nothing of it, but I believe that when you're a ghost, it's because you was taken out of your life prematurely, and usually by violence, or something that wasn't meant to happen, and then you get taken out premature. And I believe that's why there's a lot of ghosts walking this planet that's youngins, because they wasn't meant to die then, and that's why there's a lot of those. But yeah, as long as you, and I highly recommend not committing suicide, because if you watch enough NDEs, you're going to see a couple of them that did that, and then hear their message. You're going to find out you don't want to do that. You don't want to do that. You're here to live this life for God, and you don't want to go before whatever's meant for you takes you. That's what we're here for. So, yeah, I don't want to make this a long video, because I'm trying to post this on Facebook. But y'all need to think real hard about these things, because there's a lot of stories out there just like mine. And this girl I was just watched the video of, the guy was telling her story. The bullet went in and came out the back, but it did not pierce the skull, go through the brain. He said the only thing it could have went was around the skull to the back and come out the back. He said that bullet would have had to make a 90-degree angle twice to do that. I don't believe that happened. I believe it went straight through, but all that in between got not touched somehow. Somehow it was miraculously healed just like that, because it wasn't her time. And her 5-year-old boy is the one that shot her, I'm assuming by accident. But the gun was right at her head when it happened. And yeah, it's pretty miraculous. It's a miracle. And so is mine. You don't take 43 morphine 15s and live through that. I mean, unless you start puking them right back up as soon as you did. And I did not puke until 13 hours later, at least 11, 12 hours later. I kept it down and made it stay in plenty long enough, because 1 hour is all it takes. Morphine or heroin is basically the same thing. You OD on it, 1 hour, you're gone. That's it. And I'd already done my research and I knew it. That's why I chose that way. I didn't want no pain. I wanted to die easy and smooth right on out. It wasn't in the cards for me. Just like that bullet wasn't in the cards for that girl. And there's plenty of other stories out there like it. Yeah. Do your research. Look up near-death experiences. Watch a bunch of them. You're going to find out how similar they all are. This is where we go when we die. This is what happens to you when we die. They're also very similar, but each is just like each one of us' life. We have our own life, and they're each unique, but they are so very similar. When you die, we go to that same place. So do your research on it, just like I've done ever since cancer and now motorcycle wreck. And the universe is going to make sure and put you right where you're supposed to be. And I don't know why I'm meant to be 20 months behind on rent and no electricity. But I know that I'm supposed to be here, because if I hadn't, them 43 morphine pills should have took me. Yeah, they should have took me. Throw one more thing out there real quick. One time I fell asleep driving that truck, 18-wheeler, and I had my window open, and I'm dead asleep, driving 90 miles an hour, cruise control on. A fucking bird, or what I thought was a bird anyway, came in the window and landed on my shoulder and flapped around and woke me up. I never saw the bird, but I felt him and flapping, and I looked. And I didn't see nothing, but I knew it was a bird. It came in, woke me up, and took back off out the window. But I woke up and said, oh, I'm driving. That was, and how'd a bird fly in that window while I'm doing 90 miles an hour? I'm not so sure it was a bird, but something woke me up. Glad it did, because that 18-wheeler would have definitely killed me and probably killed somebody else too. There's a lot more in heaven and earth that's in most people's philosophies. People need to wake up and do a little research about it. You might learn a little of what I've learned. Yeah, I just want to share that story. I love y'all. Y'all have a good one.